Do you ever feel like you're spending more money than you plan to when you eat out at a restaurant? Well, it turns out that restaurants have a whole bag of tricks up their sleeves to make you spend more money than you intended. In this video, we'll dive into the psychology behind these techniques. We'll start by discussing how restaurants use menu design to encourage you to order more expensive items. From the placement of items on the menu to the use of enticing descriptions and mouth-watering images, restaurants know exactly how to make you crave their most profitable dishes. But menu design is just the tip of the iceberg. We'll also explore how restaurants use music, lighting, and even scent to create a specific atmosphere that encourages you to spend more money. You might be surprised to learn how much thought goes into creating the perfect dining experience. So if you want to learn how to outsmart the restaurants and keep your wallet and your waistline in check, this is the video for you. Don't skip the video to get the whole concept. 1. Using a decoy. The majority of eateries do not necessarily want you to select the most expensive entree. They urge you to select the dish from which they profit the most. However, how do they convince you to do that? Joshua Clark of Stuff You Should Know claims that restaurants frequently place an item with a moderate price and a high profit margin adjacent to an item with a noticeable higher price and a lower profit margin on the menu. That makes the former option appear like a good deal and a sensible decision for diners in comparison. This method of pricing is known as decoy pricing, and the expensive item that makes everything else appear to be a better deal is referred to as the anchor. 2. Using barbell pricing. Barbell pricing is a different variation of this strategy. A restaurant will place two things with slightly different costs but differing values next to one another instead of a decoy, an expensive item that most customers won't buy, to allow the customer to pick, in example, way one or the other psychologically. The promotions will increase business for the restaurant, but a person looking for a little bit more may notice the very minor price increase. In order to move willing clients away from the cheapest options, this entails scaling back on some deals. 3. Pushing drinks up front. There are several reasons why it has become standard practice in restaurants to provide drink menus to customers early in a meal. First off, it goes without saying that after your second glass of wine, you can find yourself more susceptible to the charm of a server who offers you a dessert menu when you're already full. In addition, drinking alcohol increases our propensity to overindulge. According to a 2015 study from the School of Medicine at Indiana University that was published in the journal Obesity, female participants who were under the influence consumed more food than those in a placebo group who were sober. 4. Seeking your preference for a particular side dish. Charles Cadet, CEO of Predictable Profits, claims that the question, "Would you want a side of fries with that?" is a typical upselling strategy used in restaurants. Of course, the typical response is affirmative. But when your lunch arrives, you might realize that you ordered a lot more food than you intended to eat. And when you receive the bill, you might also see an unexpected increase in the price for something you assumed was covered by the price of your entree. A server in the Stories from Your Server topic on Reddit had an alternative method for pulling off this time-tested ruse. People typically respond better if you phrase the offer as a pairing of foods rather than just an upsell, according to Reddit user DeBurns420. You know, like, "Well, would you like to taste some of our mashed potatoes as well?" They compliment that entree you just ordered so perfectly. 5. Offering a different bottle of wine but choosing a glass instead. Your intuition, or your liver and wallet, may warn you that it's excessive if a waitress offers your table a second bottle of wine. So even if it wasn't part of your original plan, having another glass could make you feel like you're showing restraint in comparison. A waitress will frequently inquire whether you would like another bottle first because of this. An insider in the food sector informed us that this practice is the alcohol industry's version of decoy pricing. In order to make the mid-range option that the restaurant makes more money on, a glass of wine, your waitress is essentially using an opulent alternative, a complete bottle of wine, as a red herring. 6. Include unused space on the menu. If a menu isn't a promotion for the meal being served, what is it? What is one of the most widely used graphic marketing tools? The practice of emphasizing a message with empty space. A featured item will naturally catch the eye by standing out in isolated areas of negative space. For the restaurant's headliner, an entree that will bring in the most money, it's great real estate. The eye will naturally gravitate toward any blank places on a menu if it is densely written, according to worldwide restaurant expert Aaron Allen. Products with the highest profit margins are frequently placed in segregated areas, away from the bustle of the other kinds. Also, a straightforward menu layout supports a company image that is sleeker, more premium, and more sophisticated. Restaurants can benefit from using negative space. 7. Offering a dessert or simply another glass of wine. Yes, ordering dessert may increase the total by a few dollars and increase the tip given to the server. But, from the perspective of the restaurant, desserts have incredibly slim profit margins and a hard cap on how much customers would pay. If a server offers dessert or just another glass of wine, the customer has the option to decline dessert in favor of something that seems less substantial and has less calories. But the establishment actually makes more money selling wine. Mark Bucher, owner of Medium Rare in Washington, D.C., told the Washington Post that a cocktail makes twice as much money as a dessert and doesn't keep a table full at the conclusion of the evening. 8. Downselling. As a type of reverse psychology, servers frequently quietly downsell a customer, despite the fact that this may seem counterintuitive, especially if the customer is someone who flaunts that they've money, according to our industry insider. The person will frequently purchase the more costly wine to demonstrate that they don't require a better bargain if the waitress briefly discusses an expensive wine option before pushing another bottle that is a better deal. 9. Suggesting a personal favorite. Customers are more likely to feel at ease with servers who appear sincere when sharing the menu items they value personally. Some servers will tell you their favorite dish is one of the more expensive ones, even if they haven't actually tried everything on the menu. Over Reddit, one server stated, "Sincerely, I have no idea if it can't be consumed within 15 seconds and or while leaned over a trash can. Nonetheless, considering that it costs only $36, I'll tell you it's the nicest thing ever." 10. Selling exclusivity to you. Our industry source claims that making an item feel rare is a good strategy to get a consumer to spend more money at a restaurant. He explained that mentioning a dish from the menu that we just got in and won't have for much longer can result in a sale. 11. Asking if you'd like flat or sparkling. One poster recommended asking guests if they would prefer flat or sparkling water at the beginning of their meal in a Reddit discussion for waiters looking for advice on upselling customers. The customer might give in and buy the more expensive bottled water because they feel too ashamed to purchase tap water. The waitress may also be able to tell which diner at the table is most likely to cave in and order more expensive dishes by whether or not they were susceptible to pressure. 12. Pricing strategically. You'll undoubtedly notice that pricing at upscale dining establishments are frequently rounded to the nearest dollar. This conveys the message that the food at the restaurant is excellent value. You'll see things priced at 5 cents less than the desired cost at more laid-back eateries where consumers are more likely to consider value for their money. The price of an entree will therefore be $12.95 rather than $13, which, psychologically, can seem like $1 higher, or $7.99. Which can seem like a cheap gimmick. Humans are terrible at mentally processing numbers and tend to remember the first item in any series, according to a Redditor. Your brain first recognizes $1 when something costs $1.95 or a similar amount. Then, instead of saying about $2, your brain says about $1 when you try to estimate how much it costs. 13. Leaving with food after only ordering beverages. Your waitress will typically place a single menu on the table when you visit a restaurant for just drinks, just in case you change your mind. They will then pass you with the appetizers from another table in an effort to make you hungry. If I have a table only drinking, I make sure I walk by them with good-looking apps and food, one Redditor revealed. You are more likely to change your mind and order 1 or 2 dishes the more alcohol you consume. In addition, you wouldn't want to consume alcohol if you were hungry. Dishes at some establishments, like Chili's, must audibly sizzle. This draws clients' attention and can persuade them to place an order. 14. Removing the dollar sign. Dollar signs are among the worst things a restaurant can have on its menu. The Center for Hospitality Research at Cornell University found in 2009 that groups who received menus with dollar signs next to the pricing spent much less than those who received menus with only numerals. The dollar symbol serves as a pretty potent visual cue that prompts us to exercise restraint when we are about to lose what we cherish. 15. Playing off personality types. Experienced servers at fine restaurants frequently recognize the various personality types present at the table and manage them accordingly. Our industry source advises that the initial stage is to identify the alpha person at the table. By discreetly indicating that the drink is exceptional like the alpha, a server can place them in a position to buy a more expensive cocktail or bottle of wine. Finding the beta at the table, often known as the one who wants to be or impress the alpha, is the next phase, according to our source. In an effort to impress, that person will frequently purchase a more expensive bottle of wine and pick up the check. 16. Using heavier plates and cutlery. Restaurants that spend more money on heavier flatware and cutlery are subtly telling you that their meal is expensive. Charles Spence, a professor of experimental psychology at Oxford University, asserts that the utensils we use to eat have a significant impact on how much we enjoy our food. Spence concluded that because humans see meals served on heavier plates and flatware as more expensive and delightful in his 2013 study on the subject, which was published in the journal Flavor. 17. Using descriptive language. According to restaurant expert Allen, superlative claims, descriptions like "the world's best burger" cannot possibly be real, and customers will just disregard them. But alluring terms like line caught or sun-dried will whet our appetites and get our taste receptors buzzing. Researchers from the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign discovered that a menu item's sales climbed by a staggering 27% when an alluring description was included. The study lasted 6 weeks. These mouth-watering descriptions altered the patrons' attitudes on the cuisine and the establishment, even influencing their plans to come back in the future. 18. Playing classical music. In fine dining venues, using classical music to create a more upscale ambience is common practice. The music serves as a free advertisement for the restaurant, telling patrons that the cuisine is great and worthy of whatever price the establishment has set. A restaurant was used in a University of Leicester study that was published in the journal Environment and Behavior. During the course of 18 nights, the restaurant played classical music, pop music, and no music. Compared to nights when pop music or no music was played, visitors were more inclined to spend more on their meals when classical music was playing. 19. Nesting pricing range. Everybody has seen menus with the pricing printed on the right side, far from the options for meals. But when customers see this, it's all too simple for them to quickly glance at the prices, decide how much they're willing to spend, and then rule out any entrees that are more expensive. The objective, according to Allen, is to encourage customers to scan the distinctive item names and well-written descriptions and base their decisions on what sounds or looks appealing. Price consideration need to be secondary, not first. And that is precisely what happens when the prices are nested next to the food products. With this menu layout, customers are far more likely to explore all of their alternatives and make decisions without considering the price tag by picking what sounds the most delectable. Ultimately, the goal of any restaurant is to provide a memorable experience for their customers. While there's nothing inherently wrong with using psychology to enhance that experience, it's important to be aware of how these tactics can affect your behavior and your wallet. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this one. Thank you for watching this video and greetings from Hospitality World.